friends, Amy Campbell with the Iowa DD Council, and I work on the InfoNet newsletter. And I have left my friend Carlin Crow in the Capitol today. I needed to get a little perspective and get out and get some fresh air. So I decided to take a little walk. Sometimes you got to do that at the Capitol, get outside and refresh your brain a little bit after all of the things going on. But we are in our final month of session. It's April, so in addition to the weather hopefully warming up, we have sessions starting to wind down. The last paid day for legislators is on April 28th, so you can see we only have a few weeks left to get bills done, to get budgets done, and any other priorities before legislators lose their expense money and their staff on that final day. Now, you know, those of you that have been around, that they can and sometimes usually do go a little bit longer, but they have to do it on their own dime. They have to drive to Des Moines on their own dime and stay in hotels with their own money. And so it's a pretty powerful motivator to get done when you lose those expense dollars. But I wanted to give a couple highlights of this week for you.
Hi everyone. You can see I came back inside. I thought it might be easier to hear me than outside in the wind. I wanted to give you a couple of updates this week before I turn it over to Carlin. The first is the Senate has passed out budgets out of committee. The interesting part of it is there's no money in them. There's just a blank where you would see normally see a number. So all we have is what they call a shell bill, which is the language of the bill and the structure of the bill with just no money inserted into it. So that will have to happen on the floor when they debate it in an amendment. And what this is kind of unusual. I think it's been done once before, but it is pretty unusual to pass out these shell budgets without numbers in them. It makes it complicated for people like me or like you advocates to really know what to advocate for when you don't see how much money they're proposing for each of the different items in the bill. So we'll keep you updated on that process, but we do have bill numbers and we will include those in our written update this week. I did want to also bring up a piece of good news, House File 264, which was introduced by a freshman legislator from Cedar Rapids, Representative Elizabeth Wilson, and it was assigned to the Ways and Means Committee, which is not susceptible to those funnels we talk about, those deadlines. Because it's a tax writing committee, you can talk about those bills at any time. So last Monday, we had a subcommittee meeting on that bill, House File 264, and all three members of that subcommittee passed it out. It is a bill that makes sure that people who work for a nonprofit organization that provides services to people with disabilities, that they wouldn't have state income tax on their wages. So you would be able to earn your paycheck without paying state taxes. If you work for a nonprofit organization and you provide services to people with disabilities. So some of the providers that were at that meeting really said this would be a game changer. This is just another way to try to help recruit and retain those very important workers. So that's a little bit of good news. So I am going to turn it over for Carlin for her update, and I don't think her news is as good as that.
Hi everyone, this is Carlin Crow. And as Amy mentioned, I get to deliver some of the not so great news of the week. And that is in regards to the public assistance bill that we have been talking about now for several weeks. As you may know, there were two, one in the House and one in the Senate. And Senate File 494 has passed out of the Senate and is now over in the House, has been moved out of the House Appropriations Committee. The good news about that is that it narrowly came out, which means there is some opposition to it. So some of the good news of the week was that on Tuesday, there was a public hearing for this bill, Senate 494, and many people spoke in opposition. The public did get to be heard, and our concerns were shared. I had the opportunity to testify on behalf of the DD Council, and what we are concerned about and what I shared with the committee is our concerns over the asset test, and specifically the household asset test. And what this means is that people on Medicaid who are either applying or are currently on Medicaid, and that includes Medicaid waivers, their whole household will have to be determined whether they have too many assets to be on Medicaid. And as you might know, there is already an income eligibility requirement and many other requirements for Medicaid, but not a household asset test. So we believe that this could have some very detrimental effects to many people on Medicaid and many people with disabilities who are on Medicaid who don't have any other ways of getting the services and having some of their medical needs taken care of, because Medicaid is the only thing available to some people who are on Medicaid. So this is our concern. We expect to have some additional information this coming week about what the ramifications will be for people on Medicaid. And when we get that information, we will certainly share it. In the meantime, we're waiting for this bill to come up for debate on the House floor and also see what may become of it. And because it narrowly passed out of the House Appropriations Committee, that means that there are people who are thinking deeply about this and whether it's the right thing to do for people on Medicaid or SNAP. And as you have probably heard, this is, has been called the SNAP bill because the primary components of it are the asset tests and new ways of applying for SNAP benefits. But it affects Medicaid as well as the Children's Health Insurance Program also. So it's time, if you have not already, to contact your state representative and let them know how you feel about this and whether this is the route that you think the state should be taking in regards to Medicaid, and especially for people with disabilities who are on Medicaid and needs the services that waivers provide, which includes many things that may not be particularly medical related, but have to do with job training and transportation and getting to medical appointments, help in your home. These are all parts of Medicaid and the Medicaid waiver that we know people with disabilities rely on. So please reach out to your representatives this week because it's going to be very important that they know how you feel about Senate File 494. And you can do that in our bill tracker and Take Action Center. It's very easy to send them an email, but also a call can't hurt, or any other way that you're usually get in touch with them. If you have any questions, contact the DD Council. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. And Amy and I will be watching this closely this coming week, and we'll give you an update at the end of the week. So thanks for joining us today, and hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next time.